Okay, Laura, I'm going to try to talk through some of these really quickly and then maybe take another try at them. And then if there's just still a few you're struggling with, we can go more in depth. So I'm going to start with section 2.1. This is question number 1, where you were given a slope and a point and needed to find the different forms of it. And I believe, maybe you're still struggling with both of them. I thought you'd gotten the point slope. So the point slope form is a very specific form, and if you go into your book, you'll see it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So just looking at your answer right here, I can tell that that's couple problems. One, it's not an equation, so we need a y in there somewhere, an equal sign in there somewhere. Second, this looks like it's more in slope-intercept form. If you had a y equals before this, it would be slope-intercept form. So look up point-slope form in your book and see if you can imitate that. The nice thing about point-slope form is you'll be able to do it directly here because you have a slope and you have a point. This point here, this -4 would be your x1, the 7 will be your y1. The x and y will remain as variables so that you can come up with the entire line, and then the m, of course, is your slope. So look up point slope form in the book and then see if you can mimic it. Make sure that you have an equal sign, make sure you have a y in there somewhere. On the second one, you do have slope-intercept form. This is part 2 of number 1. The issue again is you don't have y equals. It looks like your slope is going okay. The y-intercept, however, you're putting 7. So I'm guessing that you're doing that because of this 7 as the y-coordinate. However, this is not the y-intercept because x is not equal to 0. So how do we get that? Well, we can use the point-slope form you come up with for one, and we know that for the y-intercept we want x to be 0. So maybe come up with the point-slope form in A first and then plug 0 in for x, and that will help you find the y-intercept here on part 2. Okay. Scroll down. It looks like number 2 you also said was an issue. Okay, here again, let me go over to what you have. This is what you have. Again, point slope form. Look that up in the book and make sure that you're matching the form. So it should be in the form y, the variable y, minus some y value, which is called y1, equals, and then you should have the slope, then in parentheses, x minus, and then some x value. And that some y value and some x value, you can use any point on the line. The easiest one here would be the point that you're given. Okay. 3, you said also. So this is find the slope-intercept form of the line which passes through the given points. So it looks like you were able to get the slope. You noticed that the y value was both -9, and so I'm guessing that's what the 0 represents, is your slope. But keep in mind the form of the slope-intercept form will be y equals slope times x plus whatever the y-intercept is. So you need the y and the equals. The 0 times x will give you 0 like you have there, but then you also need the y-intercept. And in this case, we have a line. Notice that at both points the y value equals -9. If you draw these points and connect them, you'll see that it's a horizontal line through y equals -9. So that'll help you get your intercept pretty easily in this case. So just notice where does that line cross the y-axis, and that'll be your y-intercept. Okay, and next we have number 4. This one you were very close on. Again, you just need that y equals out in front. Your y-intercept here is actually correct. Maybe that was just because they happened to give you a point where x was 0, so you could just get that y-intercept. That's why this 10 is correct, and the previous y-intercepts you had weren't correct. The slope, take another look at the formula. I think you may have just flipped either the top or the bottom, the x values or the y values. Here, your slope should be 3. And okay, number 6. Yeah, this one, basically, I think you'd want to get the first 4 first. And then number 6, this one about the bull Sasquatch, is basically just getting you to translate words into the x and y values that you were using in the earlier ones. So if you get the first 4, then take another attempt at this number 6. Okay, let's go on to 2.3. Apologize for the window where you're not seeing much. I'm trying to be able to see the correct answers and also your responses. Okay, so on part 2, number 2. Okay, so part 2, number 2, you're asked to find standard form of this function right here. Again, look up standard, I believe, I want to say page 190 in your book has the standard form. And if you're having trouble reading the forms as written in the textbook, let me know too, and I can help you with that. So in order to be in standard form, we should have f of x equals, and then we should have some number out front here that's our a. In this case, we have -1. Then we should have x minus something. In this case, it's minus -3, which is just a plus. And that should all be squared. And then there should be some y value out here, which is, or k value, sorry, and that's just 0 in our case. So the point to take from that is number 2 is already in standard form. So when it asks you on part 2 here, looks like, I'm not sure if this was correct, but this is a general form. So there's general form and standard form, and this right here would be the general form. So just take a look at the other form, the standard form. And then you said number 3. Looks like you got the first few parts here. So here's the part 4 is the first one where I see I'm missing something. Okay, so this first step that you're missing is when you have this -0 here. And the reason is when you added this 1 in, we can't just add 1 or add anything into an equation without changing the value. So when you added this 1 here, you also need to subtract a 1, which it doesn't look like you did there. So maybe take another look at that. And it looks like you actually did pretty well on the rest of part 3 there. So 4, we have these two answers. I'm going to take a guess here. Let me roughly see. This may be true. You may have the correct answers here, but you put them in decimal form. This is a case where WebAssign wants an exact answer, and when you use decimal, that rounds the answers automatically. So maybe keep what you had with the quadratic formula, but when you get your final answer, just let it be in square root form. Don't change it to a decimal. And it looks like looks like your answers are really close. If they're not already correct, they just need to be in the square root form so that they're exact. Okay, and again, this is part 2 of number 4 on section 2.3. And it asks you to convert it into standard form. Looks like you have general form again here, so may be correct as general form, but be sure to convert that to standard. And looks like you have one wrong for the increasing, decreasing. Just to clarify that, as you're going on the x-axis from left to right, picture yourself as a little ant or something following the function. If the ant is going uphill, it would be increasing. If it's going downhill, it would be decreasing. Okay, 5.5 part 1, so we have a quadratic function right here. And these are your answers for the x-intercepts. Again, I'm pretty sure, let me see, it's hard for me to convert the square roots exactly in my head, but I'm pretty sure this is a case, again, where you just need to keep the original square roots after you use the quadratic formula. Don't convert it to decimals. Part of that's because WebAssign's being picky, but partly they do have a good reason, because they want you to have an exact answer, not an estimated answer, which is what your decimal would be. Okay. And let's take a look at number 8. Okay, this one you were right on. So this was asking you how many players need to be sold to maximize profits. This is talking about these video game players or something. And you had 55. Here, your answer was correct more or less. Just be careful, reread the question. The profit P in thousands of dollars made by selling X hundred TrueView media players. So you just need to think about what that X 100 means. So what does each unit of X represent in terms of media players sold? And your 55 part of it is correct. Just when you say 5,500, think about that again. And okay, that is it for your questions on number 2. So I'm going to sign off here.